Hi everyone, today's video is going to be the third rerun of my hopes and dreams for the new Astra Militarum codex. We're 18 months into 9th edition, and we can officially say Astra Militarum will be one of the last codexes to be released. Chaos Demons have been announced, squats are on their way, World Eaters are getting their own codex, and there's even talk of a Space Marine 2.0 codex. There are also rumours that 10th edition will be released next year, which given the release cycle of the last 3 editions would align, so perhaps July 2023, which would be exactly 3 years since 9th edition was released. So could Astra Militarum be completely skipped over? Most definitely. In 7th edition we actually had no new codex, being one of the last to get one in 6th edition, but being one of the earlier 8th edition books, which would mean the current book is 5 years old in October, which is absolutely crazy. So my hopes and dreams could actually be relatively accurate, given we've seen what the large majority of armies have had done to them as far as new codexes are concerned. I like to also hope that a GW rule writer will listen to my humble little YouTube channel, and even write some of my ideas into the new book. I keep telling myself that they took some of the inspiration for the new Astra Militarum secondary objectives from the second version of this video, which you can check out here. But with only 600 odd views, they probably didn't. Right, so my first simple hope is, make Astra Militarum more shooty. Slightly controversial, but I'm actually happy with the overall squishiness of most Astra Militarum units, Baneblades excluded. From a lore point of view, Astra Militarum are undoubtedly the squishiest, given we are mere humans. While sporting technology from the 40th millennium, our vehicles are fielding relatively primitive armor systems. I wouldn't want to actually see our vehicles suddenly getting invul saves, given it would mean they'll be having actually some sort of force field. However, I say this with the full acknowledgement that this was originally something only reserved for characters. The invul save now is most widely used rule mechanic, with so many units having one, which would make the most basic of Lord Disciple feel a bit uncomfortable. So to counteract our squishiness, which even Armour of Contempt probably hasn't improved a lot, given a lot of other armies already had this, we need to be dealing way more damage. So being quite unimaginative here, make the Battle Cannon a flat 3 damage, Demolisher Cannon D3 plus 3 damage, and increase the damage of the Sponson Plasma Cannons and Executioner Plasma Cannon to be a flat 2 when non-supercharged and a flat 3 when supercharged, making this along with other plasma weapon systems out there. Give the Punisher Gatling Cannon just an extra AP to AP-1, improve auto cannons to be a heavy 3, and make the Vaykosha Battle Cannon AP-4, dealing 3 mortal wounds plus D6 damage, given it's meant to be able to defeat Titan armor with a single shot. Make the Hellhound Assault 3d6, allowing it to be hyper aggressive. Scion Hotshot Lasgun Strength 4, and make the Deathstrike absolutely ridiculous. I know there were some spicy rumours floating around a few months ago about how bonkers it was going to become, and I've actually seen the same from a very reliable source as well. They spoke about it having several missile choices, with the most crazy being able to deal a maximum of 12 mortal wounds to each enemy unit caught within the blast radius. I'm all for this obviously, but wouldn't want it to be actually too broken, otherwise it'll be out of stock for months before being nerfed back to earth. A simple way to control it would be to limit it to only 1 Death Strike per army, on account for how rare they are in the 40k story. Now quickly on the Baneblade. Now we all know that they are now costed at a level where they are almost playable, given they've got a 2+ save and of course Armour of Contempt, but they still don't deal enough damage. For what some of the weapon profiles should look like, we could simply just copy what the Tower Hammerhead Railgun has. Strength 14 AP-6, D3 plus 6 damage and dealing 3 mortal wounds. I'd say the Shadow Sword and Bane Sword should be both getting something equally crazy. Now keeping to the Baneblade, my next simple wish is, make some Astra Militarum units more survivable. I could have just said I'm happy with our overall squishiness, but some units simply need a boost. The Baneblade should have a ramshackle equivalent, feel no pain and recover D3 wounds if it hadn't moved in the previous turn. This thing is meant to be an absolute fortress, but a practical 1+ save just doesn't cut it anymore. As said, we could just whack a 4+ invul save, but that would just be lazy. I want this model to be sitting in a place where you have to be carefully deploying it, but being rewarded for surgically positioning, unleashing 8 barrels of hell. The last thing you want is it to simply just be relying on a 4+ infil save and marching it up the board, as though it's a Custodes model before they got nerfed. Right now, Bolgrams and Ogrins, perhaps being our only midfield unit. Simply give them an additional wound to 4 wounds each. Nothing crazy, and again I wouldn't want them anything more than that. I know all too well the challenge of the mid-board game for Astra Militarum, but I'd say this is actually meant to be a bit of a disadvantage, given Guard are either humans in flak armour or riding in armoured vehicles. You would have all seen the announcement for the new Scout Sentinel, and personally I don't think it needs a new model, but let's hope its rules are good enough to warrant me buying a 4th Sentinel. Maybe given a permanent -1 to hit in the shooting phase, given they are meant to be sprinting all over the place. I think also all Astra Militarum vehicles should be able to pop smoke at any point in a game. I'd still have it as a once per game mechanic, but allow it to be deployed in an opponent's shooting phase and lasting until the beginning of their next shooting phase. Sure, this would be out of sync with a lot of other 40k vehicles, but given I'm not prescribing all Astra Militarum vehicles to suddenly become more survivable, this would be completely fair, given how everything else has become more deadly. Now heavy weapon teams. The recent leak also showed what seems to be new models, which given how dated the current ones are, would make a lot of sense. Again, make this slightly tougher, maybe with toughness 4 if they didn't move in the previous turn, representing the crew digging in and fortifying their positions with sandbags. Kazakhrans have also been announced, and I know there's been a lot of excitement about them, but personally I'm confused how they'll work sitting between veterans and scions. Given veterans have ballistic skill of 3+ and scions of a 4+ save, what will make Kazakhrans special? I guess probably access to some unique stratagems, or will it just be another troop choice, ballistic skill of 3+, a 4+ save, and maybe able to perform actions and still shoot. So moving back to existing units, my next hope is, give us some decent stratagems. Now very broad here, but giving us some powerful stratagems would allow the majority of units to retain their current survivability. In the previous 2 versions of this video, I suggested some other ones, but here are a couple more. 1 CP for a vehicle to reroll or hit rolls in the shooting phase if it didn't move, and 2 CP if that vehicle is Titanic. Still keep Cadians as real hit rolls of 1 if it didn't move, but allow all other Astra Militarum vehicle units to reroll everything. 1 CP for a vehicle to self-destruct, dealing the standard mortal wounds as per its datasheet. Simple and justifiable, given you could imagine a desperate crew in a last stand doing just this thing. 2 CP to make 2 infantry squads lasguns rapid fire 2, if within 6 inches of each other, with front rank fire, second rank fire turning that into rapid fire 4. Only allow this on infantry squads, not conscripts, and it simulates the brutal effect of mass lasguns working in unison. 1 CP to give a +1 to hit against a target that is visible to an infantry unit with a Voxcaster, when being targeted by an indirect fire weapon. Again, it would make sense, given there would be radioing back adjustments as the artillery conducted their fire mission. Overlay this with the previous stratagem when a vehicle reroll all hits, and it could be quite spicy. And beef up the Bolgram stratagem Furious Charge, dealing a mortal wound on a 4+, to be a bit stronger, dealing a mortal wound on a 1 to 2, 2 mortal wounds on a 3 to 5, and 3 mortal wounds on a 6. Again, nothing over the top, given some of the other stuff that's already out there. Okay, next along is reward army lists built right. I touched on this in the previous video, but let's reward players who take big chunks of infantry. I feel the new secondary objectives are a step in the right direction. Perhaps give concession in army list building. When someone takes 5 infantry squads for a platoon, they can bring a special weapon squad, heavy weapon squad, and command squad with no impact on their detachment slots. It probably won't really impact things too much, but could be a cool way to make it really easy to fill platoons in detachments. As per the 2 CP stratagem I suggested before, where 2 squads become rapid fire 2, give some bonus for taking a full platoon. Perhaps a morale boost, Or maybe getting the 1 CP stratagem I mentioned before, allowing infantry squads to improve indirect fire, for free if the heavy weapon squad has got mortars. Okay, and lastly, make Krieg cool again. The kill team models are brilliant, and I really hope Krieg gets a massive boost. The current army doctrine is terrible, being able to shoot upon death on a 4+. Turbocharge this, where they can always shoot upon death, and improve their leadership by an army-wide +1, and have them ignore all leadership modifiers. Also have them with a new unique melee weapon being their spade, giving them an AP +1. Also allow them to always shoot into combat with friendly troops, hitting friendlies on hit rolls of 1, with it always doing so even if you can reroll hits. So like the existing Valhallan infantry order, but army-wide. It would also be great to see plastic Death Corps of Krieg Riders. They could serve as a great mid-board unit, able to contest objectives with explosive tipped lancers, giving them a strength +2, AP -3, flat 2 damage. I know there are existing Forge World models, but they are way too expensive to buy in mass. I'd also have some wacky vehicle rules. With 2 Krieg vehicles charge the same target, they're hitting on 5+ in the fight phase, representing wall-to-wall armoured plate and vehicle tread. Right, so there you have it, my third hopes and dreams for the Astra Militarum codex. Nothing overly crazy, and probably realistic given some of the stuff other armies have had. What do you think? Let me know in the comments as to what you expect to come out whenever the new book drops. Thanks for watching. Patron Platoon, sound off. Tank Commander Glenn, Tank Commander Mitchell, Tank Commander Watchdog Van Etten, Colour Sergeant DuPont, Sergeants Brady, Adal, Gilliam, Merrill, Veterans Gibson, Hall, Lundeen, Witten, Guardsman Flint, Hills, Malak, Nitton, Nguyen, Smith, Tom, Tompkin, Conscript Craft, Conscript England.